That was the family clapping. That was Michelle Sen. Thank you. Linda Joy Myers, are you here? She emailed me saying she may not be able to make it, and she didn't. Okay. Our next reader is Elise Kazanjian from San Francisco, reading from her honorable mention memoir, The Magic Formula.
Thank you. My Armenian mother's formula for averting danger was entirely different than other parents. Instead of "don't talk to strangers," she would call after my sister and me before we left our apartment in northern China, "Do you have a clean hanky?" To my mother, a handkerchief had special powers, akin to St. George's sword, protecting us from modern dragons. She embraced an old-world notion that good manners formed a bulletproof shield, and handkerchiefs were a vital part of that protective armor. I too have felt that through the magic of handkerchiefs, no harm can come to me. I've been faithful to that conviction in always keeping one on me for more than a half-century. My mother carried an aura of gentility all her life, from a childhood spent in Istanbul, later in Austria, and through her adult life in Tianjin, China, where my father managed an American rug factory, and finally in the United States. She exhibited a steadfast belief in and expected reciprocal civil conduct. Some women know the history of a particular dress or cherished souvenir. My mother knew the origin of each of her collection of over 100 handkerchiefs. When I was 7 years old, handkerchiefs meant a great deal to me. It was on ironing day when I felt complete communion with my mother. Wei and I, our Chinese ama, and my mother washed clothes by hand in a large copper tub on the cement kitchen floor of our apartment. I felt very grown up as we knelt at the tub, scrubbing and talking about what vegetables were in season or the latest news about friends. I loved ironing day and its rituals. My mother first soaped her hands with ivory soap, the soap that floats, and then, taking mine, rubbed my hands in what always felt like a sweet caress. Our ironing room was my father's office with his huge wooden desk, topped by a chunky glass inkwell, his big red Parker pen and pencil set, yellow Ticonderoga pencils, and carpet designs from the rug factory. When my mother ironed, she was more beautiful than ever. Her auburn hair framed her face, falling softly over her eyes. She often sang to me in one of the many languages she spoke fluently. Sometimes it was an Edith Piaf ballad, or a German song like O Tannenbaum, or a Chinese lullaby, and then Wayne and I would join in. Most of my handkerchiefs came from a store close to the Haihe River in those days before World War II, before China became a communist country. Entering the shop was like walking into a rainbow, the back walls stacked from floor to ceiling with vibrant rolls of fine linens, cottons, and woven silks. With the salesman, my mother discussed in Chinese what she was looking for. Various bolts of superb cloth appeared, and she gently fingered each before deciding. Walking home, she and I would speculate on how the embroidered handkerchiefs would complement certain dresses. Recently, I discovered how much handkerchiefs are a part of my DNA. It was early morning and the fire alarm intercom in my San Francisco apartment building blasted. All residents vacate immediately. Use the stairs. Do not use the elevators. I frantically rummaged in a closet drawer looking for a tattered cardboard box. Still in my pajamas, I stumbled down 17 flights of stairs and joined other residents from the sidewalk. We made small talk until we were told we could return, only minor smoke damage from a frying pan catching fire. I looked at the box I was clutching, opened it, and breathed a sigh of relief. A neighbor asked what was in the box, and I told her, my mother's handkerchiefs. She gave me a strange look. She was holding her laptop and her iPhone. And I have to show you, this is one of the 100